it was getting. I was a little boy in the 80s. I was born in 1980, and we used to go into the city when I was 6, 7, and 8. And it was the tail end of the garbage was like leaving. It was starting to clean it up. It's the worst I've ever seen it, John. Very bad. Somebody went to approach my son. Homeless guy had to rip my son in the other direction. It's out of control.
Wow, you actually had contact with somebody. That's crazy. Man, oh man. There was a period, in the early 2000s, late 90s, where I worked for Lehman Brothers in the media division. And that was right there at 50th Street. So I know that area very well. And it's always been very congested, high traffic, a lot of foot traffic, people, tourism as well. But man, yeah, I just see like what the city looks like just from afar, and it's like the stuff that's going on is pretty crazy. And it's not just New York; it's some of the other big cities as well. But anyway, yeah, okay. So yeah, that's good. But you got to enjoy the good stuff that New York does have to offer, which is the museums and the Broadway and the nightlife, and there is some great stuff still there. And I cut through usually just to I take the Belt Parkway, pretty much. I just bypass New York City and go to Queens and visit some of my family there, and also out in Long Island. I've got family out there too, so I was born in Long Island, so I know the whole thing.
Yeah, I love the city. I lived on 3rd and 11th. We're live streaming, Joe. You're on camera. Right here. Hold on. Right there. There you are. Say hi to everyone.
Hola.
Telling them about your day in the city today. So, yeah, we had a good time. We love the city. Dominic, why don't you pick it up?
Well, I'm just listening to you guys reminisce. I've taken the Parkway. I've hung out in Woodhaven. I've hung out in Brooklyn, Ozone Park, Howard Beach. Yeah, I've been around. It was many moons ago. The last time I was up there, it was all different.
Hey, Dom. I used to live in Woodhaven with my wife. At the time, was my girlfriend. And we lived in Woodhaven, not far from Park Lane there, Park Lane South, and Woodhaven Boulevard, not too far from Howard Beach. I grew up in Queens. I lived in Whitestone. I lived in Bayside. So yeah, I remember all of that. I miss Queens. I miss the good old days there. There's some old memories there, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, I used to hang out on 88th Street. And then down further where the Rock was. But 88th Street and up by the Dome. You remember the Dome?
Yeah. I was right across the street from the Forest Park band shell.
Okay. We probably crossed paths plenty of times.
Yeah, I bet. I remember the Vincents. Now, if you remember the Vincents in Howard Beach, although the story is they pretty much supposedly copied the Vincents in Little Italy in Manhattan. But I have to say, in my personal opinion, after eating at both Vincents, the old Vincents in Howard Beach was actually better.
Hey, on Howard Beach, I don't know if you were on TV back in the day, but if you were on TV back in the day, do you remember the one guy that was a real electronic nut? He had built a door to his room with electromagnets to have a bar slide across. He was a CB fanatic.
No, I don't remember that. I kind of sort of bypassed the whole CB thing, But that sounds pretty crazy.
Oh yeah.
What did he do, Dom?
And then we had some good times. I used to ride with a friend of mine. He used to do tow truck when we used to chase. And I was the kid with the scanner.
Hey, Dom, what did the guy in Howard Beach do?
I don't remember his name or his handle, but he was on the CB, and it was a bunch of us on at the time, but I can't remember. I remember handles, I can't remember names. I don't remember his handle though. He lived on Howard Beach, and he used to tell us about all the electronic stuff that he was working on. And I went to his house one time, and he showed me his room. And you have to turn this. It looked like, remember the old alarm keys, the round ones? He had one of those on the door next to the door frame, and you turn that, and you could hear this big electromagnet energize and pull a bolt across. It was actually a quarter-inch piece of steel, about 2 inches in width, and I don't know, about 2 feet long. And he had opened up the wall on the inside to hook that all up. So whenever he locked the room, there would be this big bolt that would come across the door to the other side. And he used to brag about it. And I went over there, I wanted to see it, and I did. I seen it.
That's crazy. So I'm picturing one of those short, stubby, round keys with the circular key. I'm wondering if that's what it was. That's nuts. Yeah. I didn't know anyone in Howard Beach or Roseland. I was too young. But I knew a bunch of crazy CB guys like around the block from me. And, oh my God, this house next to my school, this guy was a CB'er, but then he became a ham. And he had a huge cubicle quad on what I think was, I try to picture it because I was always intrigued with what was on this tower. The tower wasn't that high off the ground. It must have been about 30 feet up, and it was either an EME array or a cubicle quad. I'm almost thinking it was EME.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I used to sport a Moonraker 4 back in the day when I lived on Long Island in Mastic Beach. Yeah, those were the times, I gotta tell you. Yeah, there was a lot of CB. Oh, also, I don't know if you guys remember. Do you remember in Ozone Park? Anybody remember Ozone Park in Numero Uno, the Italian restaurant?
I'm sure my cousins know it, who lived there all their lives until about 2 years ago they moved out to the island. But no, I just remember Fuddruckers.
That, Dominic, the tower that Scott's got from my neighbor Gary, a friend of mine, he used to have a Moonraker 4 on it, and that was a big antenna for CB back in the day. So that tower's been around for a long time.
Oh, yeah. When I got my ham license, I converted that thing to 10 meters, and I use it for strictly horizontal. And then I don't know what happened to it. I don't even know what happened to the aluminum. It's gone now.
Hey, DJ, I have your stream up on my stream.
I see that. That looks pretty cool.
I'm going to step out back for a minute, guys. I'll be right back. It's this dog. Dog's been doing great, by the way. He's getting regular now. And I'm curious to see if Art's going to get on. He could maybe rope up to the fence tonight and get on the air at least.
I just did that. N4QNT.
Oh, 30 over, man. Sounding good. I'll be right back. The other guys are in here.
Oh, all right. Good to hear you, brother. I wasn't looking at the meter, but I think you're at least 15 over. How you doing?
Hey, hello, Doug. I think John, Dom, DJ, maybe missed us a few, but just a quick deployment. I'm doing a 9-1 Anan, 127 foot. The highest spot on that's going up about 60 feet to one tree that's still up. And then 28-foot counterpoise on the other side. Just got it off the ground about 5 feet to a fence post. And it tunes up everywhere. It's unreal. I'm so happy with this. The great thing is, Doug, it's kind of a blessing because I've been wanting to put this up for a long time to have it as a second antenna, just for whatever, maybe even diversity. And now I'll get the other one up and I'll, so I guess this is working pretty good. It's about a kilowatt into a 9-to-1 Anan.
Yeah, well, you're 5 over, peaking 10 over. I hear you just fine. And all right, so you're going to have this, and it would probably be great diversity. And then you're going to deploy the new doublet then, correct?
And for QNT, yes, exactly. So one tree is still good. I can still utilize my on one side. The other side, I'm going to end up with a DX Engineering. They have a 46-foot, 3-inch fiberglass mast. It's pretty rugged, and I can put that on the fence post where the tree used to be, and just push that up there with a marine pulley and just use that for one leg. That should be fine.
Solid 15 here, Art. You peaked 20 at a couple times.
Yeah, almost 20 here, Art. Good evening.
Good evening, guys. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, the whole fam damly's here.
Oh, man, it's good. What a friggin' time for that to happen before the G2 gets there, so I'm glad you have something. And, you sound great. I hear you just fine.
He not only.
I think pretty close to John's setup. John, are you using a 9-to-1 Anan? I'm trying to remember. Your sloper? Or is it 49-to-1? That's right.
Yeah, I think mine's 49-to-1, and it's not the best scenario, but it's working. I've got the low point at about I'm going to say about 10 to 12 feet, which is pretty low, and there's a ground rod at that point. And then the wire itself goes all the way out to a tree, and it gets to about, I would say about 45 feet would be probably my best guess. And that's it, and it works pretty good. I get about, I would say, just being conservative, I get a 2-to-1 across all bands. 2-to-1 or less, I should say. And honestly, it's most of the time it's less than 2-to-1. It's probably more like 1.5-to-1 across most of the bands.
Fantastic. Yeah, very similar here. Instead of the auto activated on the PAL-STAR, I just want manual or bypass actually, and just jumped around, and everything averaged between like 157. The highest was like 2 point something, but it tunes it right out, of course. So the Onion, I guess, it's tunable and it makes it a nice multi-band. All right, well, cool. I appreciate it. I need to get some dinner. I hate for the quick, I just wanted to test it, hooked up the coax. I haven't used coax in a long time. It's so odd. Well, as far as, one coax. This is weird, but anyway, looking good here. All right, 7-3, guys. We'll be back, and I appreciate the quick report. N4 QMT, back on the air.
All right, good.
It sounds like I must have missed a part of the story here. Did something happen to Art's main antenna?
Yeah, VA3 KBC, bottom of the hour.
Yeah, bad storm yesterday. I'll send you the picture.
He killed a tree.
Oh man. Jeez. That it's like it's happening to all of us now. Now you got Doug, you got me, and now you got Art.
Yeah, let's just keep it over there.
What's scaring me
knock on wood, I'm doing all right.
this happened, was it who had the lightning strike? DJ?
I did. Well,
Or third person, or was it just the two of you?
it was just Frank and myself.
All right, I thought it happened in threes, and I thought there was going to be a third tree to go down, because so far we got John and Art.
Oh, and Don, I think Don got hit by lightning.
Oh, that's right, too, yeah.
But I'm not going to count that because that was further past the time. DJ and Frank got hit within like days of each other, right?
That's right, last year. I got my radio fixed, but he had to get a new one.
Yep, I remember. Oh, boy. Well, Art, glad you got, I don't know if you signed. That mats will work great. I looked at them. Just strap it to the fence post, and that'll be perfect.
I appreciate it, Doug. And Don, this thing's pointing south, I guess southeast, so I don't know. It's just the only tree that I can end up with, but at least it's up in the air.
Hey, you're about 30 over. You're not doing bad at all.
Yeah, this thing tunes everywhere. It's amazing. So the auto PAL-STAR is eating it up. So good stuff. All right, I'm on the air, and we'll be back. I'm going to get some dinner, And at least I'll have something to hook up to the G2 Monday. All right, N4QNT, we'll be back.
Oh, Dick, come in here.
I gotta text my wife. I'm gonna eat dinner too, and then I'll probably come back. But we'll talk to you later.
Hey, 7-3 Art, have a good evening.
All right, 7-3. I'm hopefully finish up. Probably hopefully be on about 8:15, 8:30. So we'll catch you guys later if anybody's around. N4QNT.
Okie dokie.
All right.
I went on strike today. I said to my wife, it's your turn to make supper. So she put a roast in the oven. We had mashed potatoes, green beans, and gravy. Boy, was it good. So just wanted to make sure she knew still how to cook, because I've been doing it all along. And instead of using the griddle, we just did it in the oven there with that roast beef. Oh, man, it was good.
Hey, DJ, this guy Perry, how do you say his name?
Oh, Pierre Polyev?
Yeah, he's picking up some ground, and he's getting heard all around the world now. I'm seeing a lot of stuff about this guy. I think I'm starting to like him.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what conservatives need to do. Now, I'm still a People's Party of Canada member, Maxime Bernier, but we'll see if what needs to happen is that Singh, the NDP, they need to stop with the backing the Liberals so that they'll don't have a majority, and then there can be a non-confidence vote, and let's have an election and get rid of that son of a bitch, that Trudeau, because he's nothing but a Marxist, communist, dictatorship-loving tyrant and a narcissistic, pathological liar. He's done great harm to our country, Canada, and he's done harm all around the world. Everybody's just looking at him, and he's just laughed at. They don't even want to have anything to do with him. So we need to get rid of this guy. But I want him still there in, so we can have an election. I don't want him to resign and somebody else take his place. I want him to lose in the next election, and that's not supposed to happen until 2025. But if there's a non-confidence vote, then they'll have to call an election. So I'm hoping that's what happens.
Yeah, well,
Sorry to interrupt. I'm gonna go eat dinner. I'll be back. I don't know, around 8:15.
Set your Trump up there.
TV2 UKX.
Okay, Doug, enjoy your dinner.
All right, Doug, see you later.
7-3, Doug.
But if you guys get up there and join with that guy, it's like that guy's your Trump.
Well, the problem is he didn't say anything. The Conservative Party of Canada, went along with the lockdowns and everything else. They didn't support the truckers or anything till the very, very end. So that's not that's kind of left a sour taste in my mouth with them still. So Maxime Bernier, the People's Party of Canada leader, he's been right off the bat. Everything, the lockdowns shouldn't have happened. The vaccine, that they shouldn't have been mandated. Everything that we believe in is what he's been saying. Now, the Conservatives are starting to kind of get on board, but still, I'm just hesitant on what they'll do if and when they do get into power.
Right. Hang on 1 second. I need to do something on our computer. Can you tell? Be right back.
So DJ, two questions. Is it true that it sounds like Trudeau may resign? That would be my first question, because that's what I'm reading in the propaganda and information here. And the other question is, and who is the other candidate that you're talking about that I'm just not familiar, but that you're talking about? And if you could, I'd be interested if you sent me maybe a link to some of the information. I'm curious about that.
Maxime Bernier was a Conservative Party of Canada member, ran for the leadership, and I just forget what this conservative. They did a bunch of hocus pocus stuff, and they got well, I can't even remember his name, O'Toole in there, and that guy was a tool. He was not very good at all. So anyhow, so Maxim decided to start his own party, and that's when he came up with the People's Party of Canada. And we've met him, got pictures. I posted on Signal pictures with him, and I can send some stuff for you. But he's well, let me just send it to you, and then you can see yourself. But everything that he his policies and that I'm in agreement with. So let's cut back on people coming into the country. Let's kind of figure out who these people are, and maybe just stop some of this stuff that's going on here. Now we've got a lot of riots going on, and they're protesting and that because of what's happened with Gaza, the Palestinians and the Israelis and that. So there's a lot of that crap going on, and we just need to maybe cut back, curtail a little bit of the people coming into this country. We don't even have housing, so that's one of the things. Get rid of CBC. That's a big thing. Now, Pierre Poilievre says that he'll cut the CBC budget. Well, they should be just cut altogether. And let me just find the link for it, and I'll put it on. You're on Signal, right?
I'm not on Signal at the moment, but I'm good on QRZ. You could just shoot me an email there. It's my call at Comcast.
I think I have you saved in my email folder anyhow.
Robert Kennedy Jr. He left the Democratic Party. It's the craziest thing. The most notable name in the world of Democrat politics in America is the Kennedy name. I mean, come on, it's synonymous, right? Regardless of whether you like them or not. I mean, just the fact that the name itself is famous in the Democrat Party. It almost is like the representation of the party, right? Or at least it was. And the one last Kennedy left. He left the party. And that should say to Democrats, I think that should say people that are old enough to know what's going on, I guess. Maybe if you're really young, you might not know, but if you realize, wow, when the most famous Democrat in the Democratic Party leaves the party, that means there's something seriously wrong with the Democratic Party. And so I thought that was interesting. Third party. We got a third party candidate running here, and it sounds like that's similar to what you've got going on there.
Well, they're all so damn corrupt, it's sickening. The Liberals, the NDP Liberals, especially in Canada here, you have the same with the Democrats. Even the Republicans, they're all in cahoots with each other. It is so corrupt. How do they become multimillionaires on $140,000 a year salary? Anyhow, okay, subject. I don't put anything in the subject. I'll just put paste, and I'll send this off to you. But it's all corrupt. Just they're evil and they're corrupt, and there's no accountability. They can get away with everything, anything and everything, and there's no repercussions. Yeah. Well, it's kind of gotten to the point where it's becoming so obvious that I think a lot of Americans are starting to realize what's going on. There's still a lot of dummies. There's going to be a whole bunch of sheep that just go along with the masses and don't really know what's going on. I think there's sort of an awakening happening to a degree. The question is, how bad does it get before it gets better? And hopefully we don't let it get so bad that it's, it's unbearable. But, the main thing we got to do right now, I think the most important thing for just the North American hemisphere, is just we've got to get out of all this war. We've got to get out of this war stuff. This isn't good for the world, but it's certainly not good for our continent. We're not going to be able to handle
China, Russia, Iran. I mean, it's just whatever. And we're just not going to be able to handle it at this point. As it is, our defenses have already been weakened through neglect and incompetence. And, these other countries around the world, they're all ripping and roaring and raving to go. So, we're kind of screwed right now if anything happens.
John, give me your call again.
Kilo Charlie 2 Quebec Mike Alpha. I've been IDing through CW most of the time, but that was my, as they say in the old way, my phone ID.
Frank, not John. Frank, right?
It's John.
Okay, yeah, John. Yeah, I get you two mixed up. Frank hasn't been on for a while, but yeah, KC2QMA. There we go. There, and send.
Yeah, I haven't heard much of Frank. He's been okay? Have you guys heard him?
I don't know. Any of you other guys here?
No. Okay.
Oh yeah, there you go. So that should give you some information.
Well, in summary, like I said, I think there is some kind of awakening. I think in our country, even a lot of the Democrat voters here, not all of them, but a lot of them are starting to go, hey, wait a second. Well, I was told that it was going to be like this, and it turned out like that. Things did not get better at all. Things got a lot worse. And this is the whole thing. It's like whether you like Trump or not, if you're able to just disconnect your emotions for a moment from the whole thing, your hatred of Trump or whatever, you got to admit when he was in power and he was in office, things were a lot more stable. Does that mean he's a perfect guy? No. But compare it to where things are now. It's like the frickin' world is on fire. And the Bidens are running like a money-making laundering scheme and selling out our secrets. I mean, it's just unbelievable what's going on. And the media is totally bought by the government, just like the CBC. It's unbelievable what's going on. And only a small, a fraction of the population knows that. I think the rest just, tune into Rachel Maddow and think that's exactly how the world is. KC2QMA.
Yeah, Rachel Mad Cow. Well, somebody else pick it up. I am live streaming now too, John. So, if you want to watch it or not, doesn't matter. But it is live stream, so it'll be saved on YouTube.
All right. Hey, Dom, did you make it back? I know he said he had to step away for something.
I took the dog out.
Oh, okay. His dog's doing? It's been a day or so since I've asked him about it.
He's getting better. There's the non-mating call.
I just turn pure signal on and get up and go. I don't even bother. I don't even hit the pure signal. It takes longer, though. I will say that it takes longer for it to kind of sync up. But once it syncs up, it seems like it's working. I'm using the coupler that Richard sent me, which is the oh my God, now I'm spacing out. What is the name of the coupler? It is Clean RF. And it seems like it's working fine. There's a knob to adjust the gain for the feedback. I don't see any difference. When I turn it all the way one way or the other way, it seems to still work, but I don't see any difference in the feedback. So I kind of set it somewhere in the middle, and I'm getting about 150 on average on the little green bars down at the bottom. And my SATT is saying it's 19.
Okay, mine. my SAT is 16 and 161. The only reason I two-tone is to make sure that pure signal is kicked in. But I also check the amp with it too. The load, I have to make sure it's where it needs to be. So with the two LED lights, the green in the middle and then the amber on each side. So that's why I do the two-tone, just to kind of just touch it up a little bit. But other than that, that's really one of the only reasons I do it. And just make sure everything is copacetic.
Yeah, I actually think tuning with the two-tone allows you to get a more precise fine tune than just doing a regular carrier, just dropping a carrier. That's just the way it seems to work. I don't know if you'll agree, but traditionally, you would hit the tune button, and which is essentially like dropping a full 100-watt carrier. And that works fine, But I think when you do the two-tone, it seems like it gives you just that little bit extra precision where you can fine-tune your tuning. That's just what I've noticed, just over dealing with the pure signal thing.
Yeah, I know when I use pure signal, my tuning load is off. I have to adjust it just a little wee bit from just the regular tune.
Yeah, I imagine that little bit of difference makes it just a little bit more perfect, where it's just perfectly in tune, where everything is balanced and, you've got, I guess everything is optimized.
Try to about 500 watts, 550 and around there, and then the load, the green light is on and the ambers are flashing left and right between the two, so she's right where it should be.
I notice mine it seems to run, it's green all the time, which according to what I've read is good, it's green, and it's running, I'm just going to say on average 150. I haven't messed with the knob a lot, but it seems like, I'm sure if I mess with it, I might be able to get it to go up or down a little bit, but it seems like 150 is the average that I seems to get. But it stays in the green, and it's consistent. So, hey, if it's working, that's good. I figured if it's got pure signal, I certainly want to make use of it, because that's the whole point of having it. And why not have, the cleanest signal possible?
Exactly. I see somebody two-toning down below. There's somebody two-toned here. So let's just see if there's anybody else who wants to join us. VA3 KBC.
Maybe Jeff or Dwayne.
Well, I know Richard was, I believe Richard was in the same time I came in.
Yeah, I have trouble hearing Richard from here for some reason. I don't know why. But I do have to sometimes go to a web SDR to hear him.
Of course, it is Saturday night, so guys may be doing other things with their wives or gone out to dinner or show or something, so they may not be on the radio tonight.
Well, I've had the G2 radio now, I guess, I'm going to say about 2 months. I think that's about right. And so far, I would say for the majority of that 2 months, it's been on 24 hours a day. And it hasn't crashed or shut down or done some weird, stupid crap like that where you had to totally start the radio over or something like that. Since I've gotten it, they've updated DETAS, and I believe they've updated the firmware. Yeah, they updated the firmware for the radio twice. So that's a lot of progress in a short time. So I'm pretty impressed. I mean, I compare that to my experience with the Flex radio, just in general. And, with Flex, it would take them months to get around to fixing something, and, you just sit there with a radio that didn't quite work right. So I'm glad to see now that these new models are out, that the guys are really working hard, and it's a volunteer thing. That's the thing that blows my mind too. These people aren't even really technically being paid, so the fact that they're willing to put in so much of their effort and time for free shows that certainly on one hand it's passion, that they're passionate about it. And it's good for the community. That's the other part, it's good for us operators.
Well, everything doesn't have to be involve being monetarily paid. The pride in doing something like that. It's fun for them. It's a hobby, I guess, and that's what they enjoy doing. Now, apparently, Doug, that does the repairs on the Anans here in the North America, in Arkansas, there, he also does the software with Richie. So there's a few guys that really know their stuff, and with what they've done with the Thetis and how we can customize our Anans, each individual one is, guys, there's so many things you can do with these things to make them look different and operate, and the audio, like I'm just running the inboard gear. I don't have any outboard gear, just a CFC 10-band parametric equalizer and a CFC and a good microphone. I have the RE27 here, but there's this thing here plays very well. I get a lot of good audio reports, so I just love this thing. I would never go back to an analog radio by any means.
Oh yeah. There's so many things on multiple levels. As we get older, I know for me, my vision is not as good as it used to be. So I kind of need things to be bigger for me to see them, operate them better. And so like with the SDR radio, like in my case, I've got a 47-inch monitor as my, it's 4K, so it's very high resolution. I mean, just as an example, let me just give you the number here. My Thetis, if I run it in full screen, is 2560 by 1377 in screen size. And it looks beautiful. It looks crisp. It looks clean. I can read all the fonts easily. I couldn't do that with a small radio anymore, like on the table. I'd have to put on my glasses, which is fine. I'd have to put on my glasses. I'd have to lean forward, look at the front panel. I'd have to make sure that there's enough light that I can see the writing on the front panel. Whereas with the SDR, because it's on a screen, everything's lit up. So, I mean, just on the visual part, there's that aspect. And then, of course, on receive and transmit, it's worlds above a super heterodyne radio. It's not to say that super heterodyne radios aren't great and that they didn't get to a point in technology where they were wonderful. That's true. But SDR, once it goes digital, where you're taking the RF signal from the airwaves and you're turning it right into digital information. Once you turn it into digital information, it's like clay. You can do anything with it. You can analyze it. You can process it. You can digitize it. You can, there's so much you can do with it. And once it's in that, once you have that, you can, noise reduction, noise blanker, getting rid of the heterodynes on the band, easy. Now you're getting into things like the new voice squelch feature, where it actually detects human speech, and it can differentiate between noises and human speech. And so now it doesn't just trigger the squelch on any old signal, it triggers the squelch on a human voice. This is what we're talking about. Once you go digital, anything's possible because it's like clay. You can do anything with that digital information. KC2 QMA.
Well, what I like about the Anan here as well is the tabs. Like there's the setup, memory, wave, equalizer, but you go to setup and you have all the tabs and go through there. You don't have all these menus you have to read and you know, C1 and then B2 and all this crap. It's so much easier to navigate. There's another feature that I like. My Yaesu 2-meter rig, that thing is a nightmare to program. Holy mackerel. You can't find it in the manual. You're looking. Finally, I just YouTubed it and watched a couple of YouTubes on it to program it. Finally got that sorted out. But yeah, the Yaesu, they're heavy into the menus, and to me, that's a pain in the butt. So, like I said, with the Anan, they're so much simpler and I find more user friendly. So. But the one thing about the Flex, they are more plug and play than the Anan. There's a lot more to setting the Anan up, and I think you know, there's a lot of help out there. If a guy gets Anan, there is a lot of help out there. There's a lot of people that'll give you a hand to get your Zoll set up and that. So anyhow, VA3 KBC at the top of the hour.
KC2 QMA.
I'll be a Ford dealer. I'm back.
All right, you're back. Well, like I said, I would say, you know, I've been through all the major SDR radios at this point. And I've mentioned this before, although I did have an 8000 DLE when it first came out. I only kept it for a few weeks because at that time, all the Anans were on what they called Protocol 1. And Protocol 1 was pretty rough. You know, you really had to have things really optimized to get it to really work. And I guess I just didn't have the patience for it at the time. Of course, now in hindsight, had I held on to that radio and waited, eventually they would have come up with Protocol 2, which they did, and I could have updated the radio and blah, 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 and I would have probably enjoyed that radio. Be that as it may, I abandoned it, that radio at the time, and I went with Flex. And I went through a couple of Flexes. You know, I had the 6500, the 6600, and the 6600M. And, you know, when they were working, they weren't bad. And yet, like you said, DJ, they were also very plug and play. You know, for the remote thing, they definitely had that part of it down. That's their special sauce, is the thin client. That's the thing that makes the Flex special. But they have a lot of downfalls that outweigh their positives, in my opinion. And then there's the Expert radio, which I've had, you know, I have the Sun SDR, 2DX, and the MB1. And they're good radios, no question about it. But at this point, I can't keep all of them. So, you know, I've got both of the Apaches up for sale. I have both of the Experts up for sale, the MB1 and the 2DX. I figure whichever one sells, I'll just keep the other one. I'm going to probably keep one of them. I just haven't decided which one I'm going to keep. If I'll keep the MB1, which is cool, you know, or if I should keep the 2DX. But I figured I'll keep that because that's an evolving product too. You know, they're still developing that software, so I'm still curious about that. Anyway, there I go, rambling on again. KC2 QMA.
We'll have Dominic in here.
I doubled with somebody. Who was it?
Probably me. I said let Dominic have it.
All right, DJ. Yeah, hello, Darren.
Yeah, you did turn on the radio. I got one more question later to do. Tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock Denver time is
All right. Hey, I think your amp checked out halfway through, but I heard what you said. Well, good luck with that.
okay, yeah, it's on the work. Yeah, so I gotta check my log, and I know what's going on. I feel good about it, so hopefully, and I have, people told me to check my other hours now, and they said much easier than the training there for the last day, so, you know, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Let me see if the other guys are hearing you. DJ, you hearing Darren?
No, I know he's in there, but that's it.
What about you, John?
Yeah, just barely hear him. I hear him come up once in a while, but then he just dips down into the noise for me. Although I have a pretty good amount of noise here.
What are you using, Darren?
Yeah, I'm using amplifier, 1.1 amplifier, for EQ. So I'm not sure, I didn't really hear it today, but I heard John, I think John say over.
Oh, Roger. Maybe it's the band. Everything all right with your antenna?
Yeah, it's fine. I'm putting it on speed, so I see those 20 meters went down low, and here now it is still 1.03. I'm not sure why it's so much because it's kind of but here again, I'm trying to hold to a tiny block.
All right. And your internet might be a little slow. You chopped twice, but not too bad.
Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, I'll let you guys close off. I'm going to find something here in the hotel. That's 4 VFR for those folks from Denver.
All right. He's going on the side at 10-4 VFR. Remote control from Denver. Good, you guys can pick it up. I'm listening.
Well, I'm kind of talked out.
What?
I was up early again this morning, 5:30.
Yeah, I've been getting up around 5 myself. Yeah, I ain't almost pissed off at Biden, man. She hates the fact that he's supporting Israel. She is so pissed. I really hope she steps over the line where we can kick her out of office forever.
Well, Toronto's dealing with a lot of, all the different cities are all having these protests and that. These people are animals as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. You know, it had to be planned. Somebody's running the show. It ain't Biden. It's somebody else running the show doing this stuff. And Lord help us. I hope we find out who it is. Well, I'm sure she's probably the trainer and all it is. I think it's more than one person. I think it's like a quorum of 12. It includes Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Adam Schiff, the Chinese spy girlfriend guy, Eric Solo, whatever his name is, and probably Obama, and a couple of cronies from that administration. I really think it's a concerted effort by a group of people, and they have just the right people in the right places where they got their strings on everything.
Yeah, it's a pretty dark time in a lot of our country's government's politics. Certainly North America, but around the world, it's not good. It's very authoritarian, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Well, they're finding out in England.
UKA, I'm back.
They're finding out in England how what's going on, how they've taken over, and I think a lot of the other countries as well. How was Din Din?
Oh boy, it was amazing. She made rigatoni pie. So she boils rigatoni, she strains it, she then fills all the rigatoni with cheese, and then layers them in a circular pan, in a pie pan, and then coats it in more cheese and sauce and ground beef, and then more cheese, and then she bakes it. And I had that. I had a Gatorade, and then I topped it off with some delicious pumpkin pie.
Pumpkin pie.
with Cool Whip?
No, she bought the pumpkin pie like 3 days ago, and no one's opened it yet. So when everyone left the kitchen, I ate 2 huge slices with my hand.
Yeah, but you work out every morning, so you can afford to eat that.
I'll be at the gym at 5:50 on Monday morning.
Hey, why don't you set up a gym there in the one of the corners of the shack? Unless you need something like something serious, like an Olympic-sized swimming pool or something.
No. We do have a Peloton, which on mornings that I don't want to go to the gym, I will be utilizing that again. But no, I don't have any weights here. I do weights. I do a different muscle every day. Like Monday, I'll do chest. Tuesday, I'll do biceps and triceps. Usually shoulders on Wednesday. Then back on Thursday and legs on Friday. And then I take Saturday and Sunday off. But last week, I only made it to the gym one day. I was very, very tired and wanted to sleep. So this week, we should be back 4 to 5 days. Do you guys hear that light CW?
I do.
Yeah, nothing here.
Yeah, it's probably at, I'd say maybe it's 50 to around 100 hertz. It's right there.
You know, I can I'll barely see it in my waterfall, but I actually don't hear it. It's barely there.
It's going. It's very fast CW. Very, very fast, and it's a carrier.
Rick was N8 SDR. Rick was texting me, and he says that's a spur, like a harmonic from 160. He thinks. So yeah, that's crazy. I can see it vaguely in the waterfall. I don't see it in the pan adapter, but I see it in the waterfall, and yeah, it's just very faint, very faint.
Yeah, I see it here too, John.
Oh, that's crazy. So then that guy's on 160 doing CW.
I'm going to check 160. If you guys want to watch the stream, I'll go check 160.
All right. All right.
Centimeter setup.
range or something.
Oh, okay.
These, all this
The creep.
all this bandwidth on 160.
During my career,
Okay, back to.
You know, I don't know if it's catastrophic, but, you know, some kind of crappy event that took place. You know, a tree came down, or wind took down a tower, or a lightning strike. It kind of almost does kind of bring in the concept of, you know, maybe having special insurance for all the radio equipment comes into play. Because I could say for sure, you know, if any of those things happen, you lose a tower or make a lightning strike or something, the insurance is definitely going to come in handy.
You know what? I'm going to get it. It's probably so inexpensive. I bet it's like $200 a year.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the case, that's not, you know, I mean, I guess you'd have to read the fine print, but, you know, we've got a fair amount of investment in the equipment. There are people that have way more than we do. I certainly know that for, you know, with people that have the like DJ's got a big tower, you know, setup investment. So, you know, all that stuff, you know, you definitely want to insure it if something happens.
Well, John, when I went with Allstate because my neighbor was, she was the agent, or whatever you want to call it, and I asked, I said, is my tower, my beam, everything insured? She said, yes. My outbuildings are as well, and I figured what the rider is, it was peanuts. So, yeah, you may want to look into that.
Yeah, I've been told by other hams that for the most part, your homeowners should cover almost anything related to the radio. I guess there's probably some special circumstances, but my understanding is if you've got a good quality homeowners insurance policy, it should be, you know, it should cover a lightning strike on your home electronics. And if that's the case, that would include your ham radio equipment. I guess the big question is what's your deductible, right? So that's kind of what it's going to come down to, is what your deductible, you know, deal is with your policy.
Yeah, I think mine was 500. So, yeah, I had no issue with Allstate whatsoever, other than it took, I think it was about 3 or 4 weeks before I finally got a response back from them after I submitted it. But of course, there was a lot of tornado damages home, so I think they were maybe dealing with that. Mine was excuse me, mine was minor compared to some of the other things they had to deal with. So, but yeah, if I had to get the radio replaced, then I wouldn't have fared out as well. But because I got it fixed, then that was at least a bonus on my part as far as what I got reimbursed from Allstate.
I think usually my understanding is that if you send it to a service center and you've got a written document from, let's say, the service center that says, yeah, this thing is basically unrepairable, essentially, right? As long as they have that document, the insurance company usually will cover the replacement cost of the item. So that's my understanding. But yeah, you got to go that extra step. You got to try to get a service center to give you some kind of documentation that says, yeah, this thing is toast, and there's no hope. And then yeah, I think the insurance company would probably cover that within whatever the range of your policy is. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, is whatever your coverage is.
There was something in the policy there that I read, and I forget what the numbers were. If it had to be replaced, and if you couldn't get the original and had to upgrade to something newer or different, I think there was some compensation towards that as well.
B4G over 20 amp.
KB2 UKA.
Well, I've been fighting a cough here, guys. I don't know. I got a bit of a chest cold, I think. So I think I'm going to call it a night and go watch some TV with the wife. And you guys carry on. I'm going to cut the stream here, and you guys carry on, and we'll catch us probably in the morning. This is Victor Alpha 3 Kilo Bravo Charlie.
Good night, DJ.
All right, good night, DJ. And I did get your email, so I'll check out the link and look into all that. Thank you.
Okie dokie.
All right, good night, DJ. I'll talk to you in the morning, probably.
Hasta la vista.
See you later, DJ.
See you later, Rick. Live long and prosper.